when in fact the opposite is the picture. We lose our bodies to death, but our eternal life energy becomes one of a poetic oversoul shaking. Death is not darkness but light. My clients say that they are so full after remembering past death experiences, have rediscovered the freedom they longed for in their mortal bodies, or embarked on their spiritual journey to a place of peace and familiarity. Cases 43. We'll see what life after life is like for those I follow. Some of the newly dead people see it opening in their burrow, right above their bodies, while others say they go above the earth before their own immediately enter. However, in all cases, the time taken to reach this route, the decision takes place after the soul leaves the earth. Here are the other observations. Person in the spiritual realm. Only 3 drive in, now you are leaving the body. See yourself moving on and on, far away from the place where you died, far away on the surface of the earth. Me back, report what you are experiencing. Before, it was very bright, close to the earth. Now it's a little dark because I'm gone in a jiffy. Drive in, explain this to me right away. It's a hollow, dim vent, and a small tree of light at the other end. Drive in, okay, what will happen to you next? I'm doing a great thing, a gentle pull. I think I should. Page 44. It should flow through it, immediately, and I do. It's dark now, too dusty, because the bright tree is spreading in front of me. It's like. Client pauses. 44. Drive in, go ahead. I am being called over, DRN, immediately at the end of the circle of light. Spread your name and keep explaining what is happening to you. The circle of light is too wide and I'm out right away. There is one. It will be cloudy, hey fog. I am filtering it. Drive in, what's more than your lack of wisdom as soon as you leave? Does the whole scene happen? Subject lowers voice, it's such a quiet place. I place of souls. Drive in, do you have any other influences as a spirit at this time? Look. I feel the power of thought all around. Drive in, just relax and make your impressions as freely as you come. Keep reporting back to me what's going on with you. Please keep going. Well, it's hard to put into words. I think of love, Kavachar, supernatural, and this when combines with anticipation, as are others. I'm waiting. Drive in, do you have a sense of security, or are you a little scared? I'm not afraid. When I was in a hurry, I was more, yes, I felt safe. I am under those cares who take care of me, reaching for nourishment. It's weird, but it's all around me. It is also who I am and why I am here now. Page 45. Page 46. Drive in, do you see any evidence of this around you? In a calm voice, no, I get it, everywhere harmony. You mention things like hair around you immediately. Are you in the sky above the earth? Pause, no, not that, but I think I've been through cloud. Stay, the earth that is floating is different. Drive in, can you even see the earth at all? Is it under you? Maybe it is, but I haven't seen it when I was there right away. Drive in, do you think you went through yet another dimension? The earth is connected, maybe. It's a possibility, yes. Earth is closer to me in my heart, and I feel connected on earth, but I know I'm in another place. DRN, what else can you tell me about your current location? It's still a little weird, but I'm leaving it out. This particular theme is taken through the experience of death and immediately continues to make quiet mental adjustments in her bodily state, pulling forward into the spirit world. After some initial uncertainty, his first reported impressions reflect an invited sense of well-being. There is one common feeling among my subjects. Once through immediately, our souls has passed the initial entrance of her journey. 46. Page 47. In the spirit's shop. Most now fully believe that they really are not dead, but they have but left the weight of an earth body. What is it? With this awareness in different degrees depending on the soul approval comes. Some subjects see these surroundings with constant quiescence while others are more factual in reporting to me what they see. A lot about them depends on maturity and recent life experiences. Very common type. The response that I choose is a relieved rejoice after him at the behest of something wonderful. I'm in this beautiful place, dear. They are highly evolved souls who come out of their bodies so fast that whatever I am telling here, it is blurred because in var their spiritual destination. These are professionals and, in my opinion, they are an on-earth number different. But the soul does not move so fast and some are very hesitant. Because we are very exclude the rare cases of troubled souls who fight over their dead bodies. Stay tuned, I think it's the young souls with a short past who come to death after all, they stay connected to the Earth's environment. Most of my subjects report that as soon as they come out of the mouth, things still for a while now. I think it's to the nearest minute the plane around the Earth is due to matter, described by the Theodorist. It is called Kamaloka. The next case is for a more analytical client. The visual field describes the area. The form, color, and function of the soul demonstrates observational insight 47 vibration level. Usually, such gross physical descriptions by my subjects after becoming accustomed to their surroundings, they descend into the spirit world. Page 48. It is an old saying that the eyes are the girl of our soul. Any material specialty no, when souls meet on the earth, then there is a great effect. Where as far as our other physical senses are concerned, mentioned earlier that souls are memories like sounds and smells. Use of all five senses. Recognition by spiritual signs can be used as signs. Life. Reincarnation, we have seen how a soul is born at a certain time in the next birth. But what comes to pass is the spiritual plan in time and space on earth. The sequence of the sequence is Shakamal. As the self-consciousness has to be taken out of there, bring closer to the field of the spirit world, mostly silently introspecting while others engage in light fighting with their friends. Come Joe happens to him. These reactions depend more and more after the last incarnation on the individual soul compared to the length of time. Rebirth is a living experience. Those souls are getting ready to ascend the earth. The battle-hardened people are like warriors preparing themselves for war. This is the ultimate opportunity for souls to know who they are first, of intelligence. Rejoice as they adapt to a new body. At some point before birth, the soul will meditate and become fully connected. A child's dominant, developing brain. When one soul 48 tries to enter the child, it is evident that the soul near the child there is no independent mechanism to accept or reject. On the first Kshar begins a chronological time for the soul. But it does shake the particular soul's inclination. Connection may happen early or late in the mother's pregnancy. I have come across cases where spirits put their arrival at the last minute. Completed commit during entry, but it is invalid. My conclusions. Page 49 also signifies spirits that are quickly attached to the child. It seems that the mother has been traveling a lot outside the country during her tenure. Once born, the union of soul and mother is completely strong. What is heavy duty? The immortal soul then becomes the head of the stream for human egoism. Spirit brings a spiritual force that is covered infinite consciousness. Although I have said that the soul can be priced by man may come, they never say. In addition to going to death, there are souls may come and go even when the body is dying, while in meditation, or with one's non-vegetarian in the lower liver. Absence of spirit in serious mind matters. Extremely prolonged scabies and coma. Why is there no other living thing on earth related to life after death? Is it easy because our blown ego sees life as only temporary? Direct, or it is because we are associated with a higher power? Is there a relationship? However, there is logic in the concept that we exist only for accidents weren't made, and that we work with a real within the system that directs its own physical changes. That are 49 the cause is committed in the body. Like our personal prakriti pradhan, original very subtle, the body can also be said, which is the ultimate subtle manifestation of the principle of Maya Lok. My belief that it is the voice of our soul, which tells us what we have personality that does not intend to die. But remember this, we, who have experienced the nature of death in their lifetime, and he has directly worshipped that noble soul, living his life. The same mukhi is also a lotus. Just as Kabir Ji has said, the person who is afraid of dying, he is my joy, when I die benki me, Pura Brahman. Page 50. Now she is no longer afraid of death, but like a virtuous woman, her purpose is becomes a servant, death. I adore every koki, those such high spiritual status in the holy feet of the saints, devotees have received. Blessed is that holy land, where such great souls, human beings as it is. In the moment of death, our soul moves out of its host body. The soul is old, aged and has experience of many past births, it immediately knows it's free and it's going. To bless these advanced souls 50, for no one needs them. However, the spirits I work with, yes, they are found wide outside the earth in the astral world. A young soul, or a child who is dead, can be a little disoriented until no one should come close to the ground level for them. There are souls who for some time choose to remain at the place of your death. Most want to leave once. Time has no meaning in the spirit world. People who choose killing a person who is sad, or has other reasons to be near them his death for time, there is no sense of loss of time. As they move away from the earth, spirits feel increasingly splendid light. For a short while some will see a gloomy darkness and an instant or pogul passing feeling. Draw the difference between these two outside the soul depends on their ability to draw, which in turn is related to their experience. The force that pulls us along can be gentle or strong. Page 51 depends on maturity and capability of rapid conversion. In a hurry they're at the exit stages, all souls have a wise sense around them. Hair soon falls, so that they can see far. I become incapacitated. This is the time when the female soul comes towards her in a ghostly form of energy. He sees them. This figure can be one or two loving partners, but more often than not this happens in our favor. In situations where our meeting is a spouse or friend who has come before us, ours is also enabled so they can handle the transition process. Ours 51. In all the years of research, I have never had a single topic that was a major religious person's like Jiva or Buddha met. Yes, these souls must be in their kivrants. Ancestors and lovers, friends, relatives are catered for. Dead souls shine in the form of light to the seekers of knowledge and special grace, but it blazes in the form of the gross body of a dead man. Till the souls are oriented towards the place they say, their popularity changed is. They are no longer truly human as we think. Emotional, temperamental, and physical build person. For example, they do not grieve about their recent physical death, like they will their loved ones. It is our spirits that make us human on earth, but without our bodies we are no longer Homo sapiens. Such glory in the soul that it is beyond the square. I see souls as radiant light forms of energy. I think shortly after death, souls suddenly feel separated because they are no longer supported by a temporary host body along with the brain and central nervous system. Some take longer to adjust than others. Energy is able to be divided into equal parts, such as a hologram. Page 52. I can live a parallel life, although it is very little as much as we read. Somewhere more common. However, the soul, due to the dual potential of all, is a part of our light energy. Story always lags behind in the soul's world. Thus, it gives life to its mother. 52. It is possible to look at the toy, even though she may have died 3 Earth years ago and car has taken rebirth. The self-conceptual preoccupation with our wides, which occurs before we join groups, different lives between souls, and for the same soul the middle varies. This is a quiet time for counseling, letting out any frustrations. The time to draw is about the life we have just ended. Self-love. A beginner intends to be intelligible, caring teacher guides the debriefing cycle with a gentle check-by. The meeting can be long or short depending on the circumstances. Whether fulfilled or not in respect of life contract. Also review of specific issues. However, they will be discussed in detail later in the commissions of our spirit group within the group. Some souls will not have their energy back immediately. The soul was sent back to the group. These are the souls who were in their physical bodies, became corrupt and indulged in evil deeds. Before hurting anyone there is a difference between intentionally acting without intentional will and evil. Careful assessment of the degree of harm to others up to mischief is done. Spirits that are associated with evil are taken to special centers, which some customers these are called carrying units. Here, I'm told, their energy is here. They were ready to make ends meet. On the basis of their nature, page 53 crime, these souls can be quickly returned to earth. Prostitute in the next birth choose to serve as a victim of the evil deeds of others. 53 Nevertheless, if his work is long and especially in the lives of many people were cruel, it would depict a panning of unfair treatment. Such souls long time while in a single spiritual being, perhaps 1,000 more than earth years. The guiding principle in the spirit world is that wrong work, intentionally or unintentionally, all in some form or the other towards spirits, it will need to be remedied to save future life. Some songs are so difficult that the soul gets very tired and reaches home. In spite of the energy efficiency process introduced by our guide, which converts its energy connects with us on the railway, we may still have a low energy flow is. In these cases, extreme rest and solitude may be needed rather than celebrations. It can, in fact, many souls who desire comfort, do so with their groups. Hence get it before reunification. May our soul group be boisterous or subdued but they respect what we do as an incarnation has passed during. Each group welcomes its friends back in its own way, with love and with shohag. The return is a fluctuating interval, especially a physical one. Afterlife where we may have a lot of interactions with our intimate soulmates. Not having much personnel contact. Most of my subjects tell me that they're swat gale, hundi, and done with a lot of humor, which gives me soul world there is a symbol of life in me. Really influential group that returned. Elaborate celebrations are planned for the soul with all their other can suspend respondents. I had this to say about a topic, page 54 page 55 Welcome his return. After my last life, my group with Ninjat organized a water, wine, dance, and chanting. To write as he when arranged something in the Hall of Marble, with Goda and all Kavashi classical Roman festival in many of our lives together in the ancient world prevailing royalty. Melila, a primary soul mate, names well for me was waiting, then making sure at the age when I remember her very well, and it shines the same way. Sometimes this type of return may be in living. Some souls a returning soul at the entrance short and then give up in favor of a side that will give them some initial leads through self-concept. More generally, self-determination waits until the soul is truly I do not return to my soul group. Separate this group into a class can be done, which gathers around the feet of the mundar, sitting at the bottom. A departed, or returning soul may have to endure several clusters. Study hall atmosphere. Souls that meet other groups on their way to their own birth often recounts that other spirits with whom they have been associated in previous births will look at and accept their return with a smile or wave. How does a subject see his group cluster brain on the state of the soul? Of course, although the memories of the school atmosphere are always very clear. Of the soul in the shop, teacher's place. Depends on the level of soul development. Only because that a spirit has descended on earth any guarantee of Stone Age high achievement. 55 page 56 is not. In my lectures I often remark about a client who it took 4,000 years of previous births to finally conquer jealousy. Some students take longer to get certain skills, even though just like in family classes. On the other hand, highly advanced self-knowledge and the vision of both the experiences is the old soul. The world of souls is neither heaven that sacrifices are to be made in one place or between each other. Condition. This is the place where we reach after death. There in due time we either raised in heaven or cast in hell, depending on whether we how do they live in the world. It didn't happen to me that it was half the place when they saw that the sky were below them, and the sky above them, and that the half stage is when I learned that as long as we are apart, we are neither heaven, I am neither in hell. In the following pages, where I say spirits, I mean spirits of the shop, whereas by angels I mean the people of heaven. There are a large number of people in the world, because this is the place where everyone first got is assembled and where everything is tested and prepared is. There is no fixed limit for our stay there. Some people in difficult times enter and are immediately raised either to heaven or to hell. 56 Some stay there for only a few weeks, others for many years, and more up to a maximum of 30 years. The change in the duration of our living is because they do not fully understand the new situations. In the following pages I will tell how we can get admission from one state to another. Page 57. As soon as we come to the world of souls after death, we are careful. Sorted by other people immediately join the hellish community with whom his virtuous love had connected him in the world, and good men immediately became self-centered. They are reunited, their love and faith and love had connected them in the world. Even if we are resolved like this, we are still together in that world and we can talk to anyone whenever we want, with friends and in our physical lives. Acquaintances, especially spouses and wives, and also brothers and sisters. I have a cup recognizing his 6 sons and have seen them talk with them. I have seen many others are people with their relatives and friends. However, since the world has the reasons for life were different in character, so they took part after a while company. However, those who go to heaven, the world of spirits, do not see those who go to hell, and vice versa. Nor the people of each group until they have a reason for the sincerity in those who love human character. They can see these other people when they are within the soul's the world, but not when they were in heaven, or heaven only when they were in the world of spirits. So they are brought into the states, being like the people they live in their physical word during life, one after the other. However, after some time, they become stable. 57 The state of being that favors the condition of their everlasting love. To be in its stage, people recognize others only when they love is respect, because honesty connects and arrogance separates. Just as the universe of souls is halfway between heaven and heaven, it is also is halfway, as I mentioned earlier. Below them are hell and their heaven above. It is accessible only through holes and cracks in rocks and wide gaps. Page 58 Through which is protected to prevent anyone outside without permission, ana, which is given only in cases of genuine need. Heaven too, and it is your own, and only access to any local community in an encrypted way it happens, whose entry is also safe. What is this door and entrance? In verse, hell and heaven are called gates and gates. The world of spirits was called the mountains, live streams and rocks and rivers and rising land here and there. The gates and entrances of the people become visible only to those who are drawn to heaven, and no one else finds them. The world one being the entrance to each community of souls, and to them only a single path, but as the path goes up, it passes through many parts. I shut down. The gates and gates of hell are visible only to those who are about to enter them. For them the gates open, and then they are the dark, sooty-looking angels, leaning down into the depths, where there are more gates. Rank, the funk takes them away. In these good souls go, because they 58 are repelled by them, but evil spirits are drawn against them because they find them happy. In fact, as we in this world use our evil rejoice, we rejoice after death. The spirit that matches our evil is. This can be compared to Korean birds and animals, such as crows. The joy and the sheep and the pigs that fly towards the corpses are like as the wind blows them. I chose a man who cried out of heaven, thrust in full agony in gust, but calm and happy when he's in hell, and there they are open to evil and falsehood. Another heaven is looking forward to and open to good, and good things are you there are present. Hell's door is open to those who focus on page 59 are evil, and the evil that comes upon the end, though a little light from heaven flows, which enables us to think, reason and speak. Distance on the other hand, the door to heaven is open to those who meditate on the good. Focus, and thus what is important. In fact, there are paths that lead to our reasoning powers, either above or within them, by which goodness and goodness enter to the Lord, and under one mind, or from the outside, by which evil and silliness spread hell. Prudent the mind is in the middle, where these two paths converge, so let the heavenly light enter is done, the more reasoning we are, and the more light closes out, we argue less, however the situation may appear us. 59 Page 60 I have mentioned these things so that our dealings with heaven and can be known with cash. While our logic is in the process of becoming man, it corresponds to this world of souls. He who is above it is of heaven, and hell is below that which is. Among those for whom heaven is being prepared, the higher aspects of the mind open up, and the lower ones open to the flow of evil and falsehood. Lockler. In the going people ready for hell, the lower aspects open up, and the higher against the flow of near good and goodness. As a result, later people can only look down, to hell, and to the east people only look up, to heaven. Looking up, means God looking towards. Looking down, is towards the opposite center away from the Lord, towards the center towards which the name of everything in hell and it is quick. It is not the body that thinks, because the body is materialistic. Is. Bali, this is the soul, because the soul is spiritual. Human soul, Sajika immortality has been the subject of many writers, our soul is really all immortal, and this is what makes our bodies think. This is because it's spiritual and the spiritual is open to the spiritual and the spiritual form resides through attraction and desire. So in our body whatever logic life can see, it is of the soul and any body in it does not belong. Indeed, the body is physical, as just mentioned, and the substance that makes it up the body is an additional element, just an extension of the soul. Like 60 its purpose is to allow our soul to lead our lives and to nurture it. Is to be able to do services in a physical world that are physical in any way and the inevitable form of life. Since matter is not alive there is only spirit we can conclude that all that is alive in us is our soul and that the body functions only as an instrument serves power, moves. Of course, we can say that a tool works or moves each of us is actually a soul. Whoever thinks of things, he can see that it is not the body one who thinks, because the body is material. Sacrifice, this is the soul, because the soul is spiritual. The human soul, the creator of immortality, has been the subject of many writers. Our soul is truly immortal in any way, and it is what makes us feeling in the body. This is because it is spiritual and spiritual open to the spiritual and spiritual through approach and desire lives. So whatever rational life we can see in our body, that soul, and none of it is of the body. Indeed, the body is physical, as just mentioned, and the substance that makes up the body is an additional the element is, almost like an extension of the soul. Page 61 its purpose is to allow our soul to lead our lives and to nurture it. Is to be able to do services in a physical world that are physical in any way and the inevitable form of life. Since matter is not alive there is only spirit we can conclude that all that is alive in us is our soul and 61 that the body functions only as an instrument serves power. Of course, we can say that a tool works or it is not accepted. By this we can understand that our soul also is in one form, that his form is that of a human, and when he becomes different they have their own senses and sensory organs, their body shape is the same he did it while he was in his body. We can collect it the full experience, the full ear experience, our truly original experience as a whole does not pertain to the body but to the soul, which is entirely captures, through their youngest characteristic. So souls see and hear their senses and feel as much as we do, although this feeling after leaving their body not in the physical world, but in the spiritual world. When they were in the body, his mental experience came through the content of the senses on a physical level. The story which was a supernatural element in his soul. However, they throughout psychic experiences were purely through their thinking and desire. Spiritual level. I have presented this argument to convince people that, when we saw that what we really are, we are souls, and that the physical is added to us so that we work in the physical and material world, it is not a real person but is only a tool of our soul. Much experience has taught me that. In relation to in page 62 our inner self we are souls experiences that will fill the whole volume, as they says hey, I have to include this thing. I have spoken to the souls as a spirit and I spoke with him as a person. When I got them spoke like spirit, so they couldn't tell that I was not a spirit myself, in a form only of those people as human beings. This is how my conscience saw him, because when I spoke to him as a soul, he would destroy my physical body. Not seeing. We can conclude that we are in relation to our inner self. The soul is itself after the fact that we are our bodies, which is then when we die, we are still alive and human as ever. To make me understand this, I was allowed to talk to almost everyone. People I had met during their material life, with some of them some hours, some weeks and months, and some years. It was so that I could be sure and take action. I may also add here that as long as we are living in our body, each of us, with regard to our souls, in a community with other souls even though it is unknown. By means of their souls, good people angel and other people are in hellish communities. Furthermore, when we die they come in the same circles. Those who are coming in the blessings of souls after death it is often said and done. Indeed, I am not seen as spirits while we are living in the world, because we looking at the physical level. However, if our focus is directed away our bodies we sometimes look at our faces because we page 63 page 64 then you are in the soul. When we see, it's easy to tell us those spirits. Those who live there because we walk in the depths thought, silent, without seeing others, as if we didn't see them, and whenever a soul talks to us, we disappear. To not deny the fact that we are souls within, I would like to express experience to explain what happens when we are taken out of the body is taken and how we are taken by the soul to another place. The first experience of being pulled out is as follows. We are brought to a special stage, which is half between sleeping and knowing. When we're in this state, it's like is a liar just as we were going, all of our senses are the same, they happen when we are fully physically awakened visual, hearing, and wonderful look, shrug, who is then eager to form the most exquisite of them ever be during physical awakening. This is the kingdom in which the people raised their spirits and haven't seen angels yet, even choosing them to say more, for strange, touching them, hardly anything with physical interference. This state classed as having taken away someone's body and not knowing that someone is it in his body or outside of him. I was admitted in this state 3 or 4 times what is it, but to tell me how it was, and I need to tell those souls and also angels have all the senses to teach and we also do this with respect to our souls, when we have to skeleton is done. 64 For the second type of experience, the soul is being carried by another place. I have been taught by direct experience what happens and how it happens, but page 65 only twice or thrice. I would like to cite just one experience. When I was passing through the streets and countryside, was engrossed with spirits in conversation, it was as if I was always walking and alert, without walking lost, although I was screaming all the time. I was watching the forest, houses, people, and more. Walking for a few years after I was, however, I suddenly found myself back about my physical appearance. In the awareness that I was elsewhere. I was completely amazed by it, and I realized that I were in the state of those who have been described were carried away by the spirit. I wasn't thinking about my route as it went, even if it was many miles, or be about the time, although it could be several hours or whatever. I was not too conscious of fatigue, either. That's how we can lead we know nothing about, some predetermined location rights, lost these 2 states of being. However, what are the states we have when we are awakened due to our own deep nature or, which is a matter, of our soul? So, out of the ordinary. They were taught to me but to teach me that how were they, because the people their church knows about them. But the souls to be with them as one of them that's something I want to do was done for when I was fully physically moved, and so there are many people. 65 To say that we are our inner soul is the same thing as saying that our thinking has to do with and the willing is spiritual, because the thinking and the willing it is our inner existence. They are what make us human, and the soul depends on our thinking about us humans and our thinking like we want. Page 66 are resurrection from death. When someone's body can no longer perform its functions in response to the physical world of the spirit, which comes into the spiritual world, then we say that the person has died. This happens when the dog sheep and the pumping ability of the heart has stopped. But in reality that person has not even died. Only the materiality is what was useful to that person in the world. Required, the person is actually still alive. I say because it's not our body that what makes us human, sacrifices our souls. After all, the soul within us is looks for, and thought, along with emotion, makes us human. Then we can see that when we die we grow from being one world in the distant world. This is why the word, death in the inner sense of the resurrection and the continuity of life. Our souls are too close to our breath. 66 They are connected and our heartbeat. Kavachar our soul and feeling of love we join our souls. As a result, when the body in both these capacities ends, immediately there is a bonfire. This is the fate of the sheep breath and punching force, that are the essential relation. Once they're alerted, yes, the soul is left in itself, and the body, indeed without the life of now, and it falls. Because our souls are attached very closely to our breath and our soul is that all our vital processes depend on them, not just the whole body. Page 67 In, sacrifice in every part also. After this separation, our soul will be in the body for some time. But not after the death has completely stopped, which is the cause of death. Happens on an alternate basis. In some cases the heart rate slows down. Lasts until, and in others it doesn't. If it stops, we go on, but only Jehovah gives us. Being born means our soul happened, we were taken out of the body and into the spiritual world. It's called resurrection. Due to which our soul does not separate from our body until the fate has stopped. That the death corresponds to the feeling of love, which is our essential life, is important because we all love our love. So until kill and 67 emotions add up, correspondence remains, and the soul's life is still in the body. How it happens, it is not only told to me by direct experience. What is it? The real experience happened to me so that I could complete this to know how this happens. I was brought into a situation in which the bodily senses were inactive much, then, as the condition of people dying. However, my deep life and camaraderie remained intact because of what was happening to me. Them I can understand and keep. What happens to those people who die is being sent. I noticed that my physical breathing almost stopped, and the external, the breath of the soul, kept moving along, a very slight and silent physical. First a connection was made between my heartbeat and the heavenly kingdom, because that kingdom corresponds to the human heart. I belong to that state. Page 68 Saw angels too, some at a distance, but who are sitting near my head. Effect was to take away all my feelings, but to leave me still occupied of armor and high current. I remained in this state for several years. Then myself, the spirits of Pa, slowly faded away, thinking that I was dead. Me and a sweet smell was felt like a mutilated body, because when the sweet angels are present and anything to do with the corpse smells sweet. When think of them souls, but they cannot come. We also have evil spirits. The spirit is put away when we are being admitted to eternal life. 68 The angels sitting by my head were silent, but they are sharing their armor with me. When the deceased accepts those armors, the angels know that the soul of that person, the body, is ready to be taken out. He completed the sharing of my looking at the face of the armors. This is exactly how ideas are shared in heaven, because I was left in the possession of the Kavachar and the higher so that I might cry and remember how the resurrection happens. I saw that at first the angels were checking me. Were doing armor to see if they were like dying people, who generally thinking about eternal life. They want my mind to be in these keep in armors. I was told later that take your last breath in the form of a body. Has been the soul is kept in its last shell until it finally gets into those shells. But what comes back is the basic or rooted love in our world. I was specially allowed to see and even appreciate there was a stretch, a kind of picture of the deeper levels of the mind and therefore my body, soul, and I was told that this was being done by Jehovah, and it was the same page 69 that brings about our resurrection. When the heavenly angels are with the departed, they do not leave them, because they love, but some souls are incapable of heaven's blessings, but the angels are tall and want them to go. When this happens, the spiritual kingdom of the Lord angels come, through whom we are allowed to use the light, because before this we could not see anything but could only gaze. 69 I was also shown how to do this. It seemed like angels turned my left eye a circle back towards the bridge. Open my eyes and I can see. Till the soul, it seems as if it is real I was happening, but it is only apparently. As this cover back seemed to be rolling, I kind of bright like a light but could see the diffused light when we are leaving for the first time. See, it seemed to me as if a heaven in this bright, diffused light the color was for this, but I was told later that it varies. After him it felt like something was rolling down my face, and once it did there was access to spiritual armor. This rolling face, there is a saying, and it is represented by the fact that we think of materialistic things. They are moving towards spirituality. The angels take utmost care to protect the awakened person. Concept in which there is no love. Then the person states that he or she is a spirit. After spiritual angels have used the light to us, they are there for us. As new coming souls do whatever we could ever I wish to remain in that state. They tell us about the realities, catch as much as we can about other lives, or at least about them. However, if we are the kind of people who do not want to be taught, then a page 70 times 70 when we wake up, we are at the mercy of angels who want to get out. Yet the angels do not leave us, instead we leave them. Angels are really love, they don't need anything to help people, teach them, their heaven to lead. This is his highest pleasure. When spirits leave the fate of angels, they are welcomed by spirits who are with them and do whatever they can for those who do. However, if they have lived a life in a world that is good for them, makes it possible to live under the influence of people, so they want to get away from them. So then, until and as often as necessary, they find the fate of those people, those whose family life has suited them. Here they find their lives, and remarkable as it might sound, they still lead the same kind of life as they once lived in the world. This first phase of our life after death is not a multiple one. Although in the following pages I will describe how then we got a stage state until finally we either reach heaven or in cash. This is also something I got a chance to learn from my experience. Some people have spoken of their death, when the earlier creations have been completed. I talked to 3 people I knew in the world and they said now his funeral is being planned so that his dead bodies will be laid. Let's go. When they chose this, they were kind of perplexed. He said that they are alive, and all that is being done is only in the physical world. Useful for later, he was quite surprised at the fact that when he page 71, page 72 were living, they did not believe in such a life after death, and even more so this unbelief was shared by almost everyone in the church. Some people have not believed in this during their ceremonial life. The soul had no life after life. When they realize that they are alive, they are very shy. However, those who have convinced themselves that there is no eternal life gets attached with others who take pride, and they gone away are those who lived in faith while on earth. In them mostly link with some hellish community because such people reject our talking about poetry of no use for the daughters. In fact, it's so much that we ourselves believe that the soul cannot have eternal life, as much as we assure ourselves that nothing has to do with heaven and the church is real. 72 page 73 After death we are fully human. The fact that the form of a soul person is the human form was previously presented, it is them. This can be explained even more by the fact that we humans, because of our soul, not because of our body, and because of our physical, the form is associated with the soul with its form, not the other way, because the soul is wearing clothes with a body that matches its appearance. As a result, the soul works on different parts of the body, including the smallest includes the one, even any part that is not activated by the spirit, the body in which no soul is self-realized, is not alive. 73 By considering that armor and wool, one can see it in the body. activate something and are completely in control of what any part of the body page 74 don't cover up. ARR does nothing, does not dare, it is not a part of the body, and it's actually done by extracting something like something that doesn't have life. HO thought and will happen to the soul, not the body. Due to which we cannot see the human form of those souls who are in the body and have left the souls that are inside of us. The material part, the I, is material. What does it do in this world, and what is material? Only that which is material sees respect about it. What is spiritual, however, what one sees is spiritual, so when the physical eye is covered and the relationship with the soul is lost, so the souls manifest themselves in the form, who is human. And it is not only a human form for souls who are spiritual are in the world, but also to souls whom we receive when they are in your body. The reason the soul has a human form is that in relation to our souls we are created in the form of heaven, since the essence of heaven and its outlines, that's what makes up the human mind. This is the source of our ability to take wisdom and wisdom. It doesn't matter if you want to take wisdom and knowledge, talk about our ability or our ability to be taken to heaven. Of years and years technological experience has provided evidence that human beings after being separated from the body soul is a person 74 and is in a similar form. I have seen these thousands of times, I have seen such souls have chosen, and I have also talked to them about the fact that people in the world do not believe they are what they are. I have told them that scholars think what they do believe, that such things are naive. Souls are sad that such ignorance is in the world and especially still common in church. But they say that this belief is especially true for teachers. Page 75 who have thought about the soul only on the basis of the body senses. Only one conclusion can be drawn by these teachers like this. The note is that the soul is only a concept, and since it does not exist in the medium in which and where it can be seen, it is like pure ether, which is easily stimulated, and it becomes zero only when the body dies. But since the Church believes in the immortality of the soul on the basis of words, these scholars are forced to believe that the soul is something of life color, some thought-ish. In spite of these concessions, they allow the soul to understand things. We don't allow any capacity, or at least not until it is tightly joined with its body. Of his resurrection the doctrine is based on the same premise, as he believes, is the ultimate decision. When it comes, the soul and body will reunite. Its result is that when people have principles and come together, and on that basis think about the soul, they 75 but don't lose sight of the fact that soul is soul and they have one human form. To say nothing of the fact that nowadays hardly anyone knows what does spiritual mean, let's find out about spiritual people, i.e. spirits and angels, have a human form. Thus this world the people who come are all almost surprised to find that they are alive and they are human as always, that they are watching and listening and talking, that the body still has the feeling of energy, and nothing has changed. But once when they overcome them, they are surprised that the Church does not know this. Anything about the state that we have after death, and so on. Page 76 is ignorant about heaven and heaven, even though all the people who live in this world there are others in life and there are living people. Because the people there kept wondering why this did not happen through the earth, but it is not done for the people, because it is important to the faith of the Church. To know about, he was told by a personal source that such appearances they can be done at any time they please the Lord, they are not easy can, but they said, if people also have such visions, then there is no faith. Will not do them, because they have all convinced themselves of the correctness opposite. 76 When we enter the world of spirits for the first time, which is what happens after resurrection, after a while our face and the sound of our voice are the same. Just as she was in the world. This is because at that time we were in that state. Our who we are focused on our outer self, and our inner self right now till now we have not disclosed. This is our initial state after we die. After however, our face turns pale and the work becomes different. It comes to be written like a poetic love that reaches into the depths of our hearts. The kind of love characteristic of the soul is within our bodies, because the face of our soul is very different from the face of our body. Us our material the face gets its parents and our spiritual face is our teacher. Love blooms, making our face an image of our physical life after the end, when the outer shells are removed, our soul's face these holds the. Page 77 I have seen and recognized some new people in the world, their faces and the voice, but when I saw them later, I didn't recognize them. Gentlemen, the love of honor was good, their faces were beautiful, while the love of people of beauty was bad. Yes, their faces were ugly. If our soul is to be seen what it really is, so this is the value of our love. And our face is the head of our love is the size. The reason for changing our faces is that in other lives no one knows them like this. Are allowed to pretend to love the thing they really don't, that's why we can't put on that face the opposite of love that guides does us. We are all transferred to a state 77 in which we think about what we say and write what we say in our expressions, want to do and do. This is why our faces are the thing we love, take their shape and make an image of it, and that's why all people who have the right know each other in the world. Even today they know the world of souls, but not in heaven or hell. The faces of hypocrites change more slowly than those of people because with constant practice he has made his inner self into a fake of love. These tend to settle down, so these functions for a long time seem attractive. However, as this Yahuamoka has been gradually removed and the face of his man elements settle slowly, those who love are stronger than other people. Hypocrites are people who talk like angels but who are inside speaks respect only material things, not to be poetic, and who therefore denies the reality of being related to anything and heaven. One thing that we must be sure of is our human form after death. Page 78 will be more beautiful if we have the depth loved by divine facts and live by them, open our deepest levels according to our love for both of them, and have been shaped by the truth and the way we live. So our love the deeper and more it is like heaven, the more beautiful our faces will be. This is why our angels living in deep heaven so beautiful, because they are divine. 78 are forms of love. On the other hand, there are people who love divine things the most is their outward form, and that is why they live by them and more in the same ways, and they are good. This is because only a few eyes shine as much as their face, nor can the pure, divine love shine through those same enemies. And if that love doesn't shine, neither does the shape of what heaven really is. There on the faces you can see something that is hazy in comparison to heaven, something like that what cannot come in life, because no deep life can illuminate it. In short, anything that is deep is the closer it is to be perfect, it is perfect, as far it is to be perfect. And our beauty depends on the fact that perfection is us. I have seen the faces of relationships in third heaven so beautiful that any scribe, with all his skill and passion, one could not present his a fraction of the light or a thousandth of a rival's brightness and passion on their faces, but it is visible. On the contrary, the angels of the outer heaven with the face of caught it can be done in 1 penny. In conclusion, I want to offer a secret that has never been known before. When something good and child that the Lord comes and creates heaven in human form. This the sign is not only of the holiness of heaven, on a grand scale, but also of heaven's every. Page 79 individual weights, on a very small scale. The effect of this voice on all those who receive the good and that which is owed to the Lord. 79 It is only the people of heaven that receive these things, as they are truly human. Therefore heaven is self-soothing, which is shared between the two, by the individual attendants. There is also, we leave nothing behind. Page 80.